Tonight, forced out again.
It's scary, especially for our little ones.
Another northern community forced to flee wildfires only days after residents returned home. Also tonight, post problems.
Whoever thinks up these ideas are not putting themselves in the position of the senior.
How the ongoing labor dispute at Canada Post is threatening one senior's access to oxygen. Plus.
And I'm John Hendricks hanging out at the Spanish Pavilion's Tapas Bar. I'll take you behind the scenes coming up on CTV News.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. For the second time in as many months, people from one northern First Nation have been forced out due to the threat of wildfires in what is shaping up to be a historically bad season. CTV's Danton Unger is standing by with the latest. Danton, how many people are we talking about and where are they now?
Marilee, Nisitchewayasik Cree Nation, located at Nelson House, is home to some 4,000 people. Many are now here in Winnipeg after leadership ordered a full evacuation over the weekend, not because of a direct threat to the community, but over concerns wildfire may overtake the nearby highway and leave them stranded. The community is located directly west of Thompson, and as you can see, there are at least two places in either direction where wildfire is creeping towards Highway 391. On Sunday, residents were told to pack up and head to Winnipeg's RBC Convention Centre. Some evacuees we spoke with this morning lamented the fact they were barely home for a week before being evacuated again. And to make matters worse, some said their bags and all their clothing and other items went missing at some point during the journey to Winnipeg.
Very frustrating. I was so mad and angry. I just wanted to leave. I almost started crying because those are my kids' clothes and I just bought them when I was in Saskatchewan the first time I got evacuated. And I spent so much money on those clothes for my kids.
We'd like to go to hotel rooms with our children. We're tired of being huddled up here and the kids are getting sick, elders are getting sick, everyone is getting sick.
Now, it's not yet known how many people had to leave the community or how long it will be before they're able to head back. CTV News reached out to NCN's chief and deputy chief for more details. We're just waiting for a response.
Danton, how is the wildfire situation looking in other parts of the province?
Well, Marilee, the city of Thompson says firefighting efforts were slowed Monday since the airspace was needed to shuttle NCN evacuees out of the city to Winnipeg. Two fires raging northwest of Thompson have merged into one. Crews are busy trying to build fire breaks and to keep it from coming any closer to the highway, while aircraft are attacking it from the south. Meantime, in Snow Lake, crews are said to be taking advantage of favorable conditions to shore up defenses, particularly north of the city and around the Lalor mine to the west. The town says they're bracing for a shift in the winds, which threatens to push the fires even further south towards the community. In its latest update, the province says 165 fires are currently burning in Manitoba. That's 38 more than this time last week. There have been 401 wildfires to date, way more than the 299 average for this time of year.
All right, thanks for this update, Danton. Two men are dead following separate drownings Saturday. The first happened at Reynolds Pond in the Aram of Reynolds around 2 p.m. Officers were told a man had been swimming when he suddenly disappeared beneath the surface. Bystanders searched for the swimmer but couldn't find him. The RCMP's underwater recovery team was called in, and a 70-year-old man from Ontario was later found deceased. Then about 6 hours later, Selkirk RCMP responded to a drowning at Grand Beach. Police were told two men had gone out onto the lake on a pool flotation device but lost their balance and fell into the water. One man was rescued by a nearby kayaker, but the second man didn't resurface. The underwater recovery team later located the body of a 25-year-old Winnipeg man. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigations into both incidents are underway. A Winnipeg senior says the province is delaying vital resources for her supplemental oxygen. Manitoba Health is asking people to pick up checks and documents in person due to the looming postal strike. But as CTV's Harrison Shin explains, that's not always possible for seniors with mobility issues.
It takes a toll on your budget. You have to give up something else.
90-year-old Evelyn Kenny lives in a Grant Park apartment building. She uses an oxygen tank for her everyday life.
I'm on oxygen 24/7. If I go out, I have a portable machine. I cannot be without oxygen.
She pays for her oxygen up front, then gets a rebate check from the provincial government. They came regularly for the last 5 years, but for the last 2 months, the now $435 checks didn't come.
When my check wasn't in the mail, I phoned and told I was to go to 300 Carlton Street and pick it up.
But the federal government's checks made it.
Well, the federal government got all their checks mailed. Why did this government jump the wagon and decide that they're going to have us go pick them up?
Getting downtown is not an easy journey.
I would have to book Handy Transit and get them to take me down. And as a rule, Handy Transit does not wait for you. So that means if they wouldn't wait for me, I would at least have an hour's wait downtown to be picked up and come home.
CTV News reached out to the health minister's office and received a response. In the statement, minister's spokesperson said, "Our priority is to ensure that all Manitobans, especially seniors and vulnerable individuals, continue to receive the support they need. To prevent essential checks from being delayed, Manitoba opened essential mail distribution centers as a precaution. We remain committed to working across government to address any ongoing concerns and ensure that affected individuals are supported during this time." Kenny says the perspective is important.
Whoever thinks up these ideas are not putting themselves in the position of a senior.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. You're on a bit of a storm watch this evening, Colleen.
Yeah, a line of thunderstorms started to move through Winnipeg at 5:30. They're still in the process of crossing Winnipeg right now. I'll zoom in on our area here. Non-severe thunderstorms at this point out to the southwest. We have an even more organized line of storms that has been moving their way from south to north across parts of the southwest, and that region continues to be under Environment and Climate Change Canada thunderstorm watch. That means storms that are already in progress or could still develop do have the capacity to become severe. I'll have more details on that. And of course, we still have many communities tonight under air quality alerts, mostly warnings, those areas in purple lighting up eastern and northern parts of the province, in orange special weather statements a little further south and over the border as well into northwestern Ontario. More on that and a look ahead to the rest of the week. Let's take a look right now, though. First, through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Looking through those raindrops, there's a thunderstorm falling over the city. It's 21. Winds out of the southeast at 25 kilometers an hour. The pressure's falling. And the humidity right now, Marilee, is 87%.
Thanks, Colleen. A man who RCMP say was let out of the back of a cruiser during his arrest has been rearrested. 30-year-old Robert Easter is back in custody tonight, 2 weeks after he was initially arrested in Chemawawan, Cree Nation. Mounties say he was found Monday inside a shed in the community and is charged with escaping custody, in addition to some earlier charges of failure to comply with a release order. Police previously said a 28-year-old woman helped him escape and is also facing charges. A new high-performance cricket facility opened on Saturday in the city's south end.
1, 2, 3.
City officials and members of the community gathered at Le Berrier Park to celebrate the launch. The facility now has 3 pitches, 4 practice nets, a batting cage, 3 shaded areas, and more than 100 newly planted trees. One local cricket player says the new space opens up more opportunities.
There's money involved, there's sponsorships involved. You know, like I said, that 20 years back, we didn't have that. You know, now a local player can hope of playing in bigger leagues, can hope of playing for the country to represent.
The project began in 2018 with a single pitch. Since then, more than $1.1 million has been invested from various sources to expand and improve the facility. Many consider him a visionary who transformed Winnipeg's historic Exchange District. And today a street in the neighborhood now bears his name.
Our father loved Winnipeg. He loved its history, he loved its elegance, and he loved its gritty spirit.
A section of Lombard Avenue near Waterfront Drive was renamed Monty Nathanson Way after the real estate developer who passed away last year. Nathanson is credited with redeveloping numerous historic properties and helped reshape the Exchange District in downtown Winnipeg. According to his family, Nathanson was a visionary who saw potential in neglected buildings.
Monty went on to develop hotels, shopping centers, office buildings, senior living homes, restaurants, and even parking lots. He loved it. He was always on the move. But it wasn't just about the deal for him. He always said he had a feeling for it. He saw possibilities in that not everyone might see.
Nathanson's company, United Equities Group, remains a family-run business which owns and manages properties in Winnipeg and across Canada. Johnny the Big Swimmer did it on Sunday. Jonathan Fenton from Alberta did his big swim across Lake Winnipeg to raise money for cancer research.
All right.
You may remember on Friday we shared Fenton's story. His original plan was to do his swim on Saturday, but strong winds forced a bit of a delay. On Sunday, though, he hit the water. And while he didn't complete the full 25-kilometer distance, he did manage to swim 16 kilometers before shoulder pain forced him to stop. On his way back, he briefly stopped at Traverse Bay and told CTV News there was one thought that kept him going.
I was going through some rough parts there where, I was getting a little dizzy and stuff. And I just thought, well, you know what, hang in there, because there's patients going through treatment that are going through a lot rougher things. And, trying to keep those people in my head to just do it for them and get some money going.
As of Monday, Fenton's fundraiser brought in $36,730. He plans to return next summer and do it right. Well, now's your chance to punch your ticket for a trip around the globe, courtesy of Folklorama. CTV's John Hendricks is standing by live to help kick things off. So, John, where are you tonight?
I'm at the Spanish Pavilion, specifically hanging out at the Bar de Avellino. I've been here for about half an hour. Don't ask me how many fingers people are holding up. If you've ever been to a liquor store of any kind, you will know that they usually have an entire section for Spanish wines. And while they don't have perhaps quite the same selection as they have at the Manitoba Liquor Marts, they do indeed have many, many amazing wines here. And joining us now to tell us a little bit about some of the beverages that will wet your whistle at this pavilion, I'm joined now by Maria, one of the adult ambassadors. Maybe you could tell me, there is quite a bit of options here, very authentic Spanish wine.
Yes, we do. This year we are serving a little bit more of other years. So we have a Tempranillo wine that you can try. We also have a Cabernet Sauvignon that is really rich and deep in flavor, fruity, with some spices notes at the end. And then from whites, we also have a Verdejo. So this one is really, really fruity, more like with gooseberries and a little bit of lemon on it, so really refreshing.
What is it about Spain that enables you to produce such amazing beverages?
Okay, so even Spain is really a small country. The landscaping and the weather that each region has makes them really unique. So we have different regions that they have different kind of grapes that we call origin of denomination. You can only get them from there, so it gives a specific flavor from that grape that it makes a specific wine. So that's why we have such a different kind of wines.
And part of that also is that you also have sangria here?
Absolutely. Every year we have to have sangria. People are coming for the sangria, so of course.
You got to do it.
We have to do it.
You got to have the sangria, and also you have to have the dancing. There's an awful lot of that is happening at this pavilion, and when we come back, Marilee, we are going to introduce you to some of the dancers and show you what really makes it special.
Yeah, sangria usually leads to dancing in my experience, John. All right, we'll check back in with you in a little bit. Still to come tonight, the final report on the Titan submersible disaster is in. We will break down the findings on what went wrong, plus how the Prime Minister is looking to soften the tariff blow to Canada's softwood lumber industry. That's all next. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil lost $1. The Canadian dollar is up slightly to 72.5 cents U.S. Gold added $8. The TSX gained 549 points. The Dow Jones dropped 61 points, while the Nasdaq closed 137 points lower. Some breaking labor news which could potentially affect thousands of air travelers. Air Canada flight attendants have voted 99.7% in favor of a strike if necessary. This was the final day for more than 10,000 unionized flight attendants to vote on a strike mandate. They were deciding on whether to give their union the power to call a strike if contract talks with the airline are not successful. Negotiations began at the start of the year. If no collective agreement is reached, the Canadian Union of Public Employees said it would give 72-hour strike notice as early as August 16th, but bargaining is expected to resume at the end of this week, even though the flight attendants have now voted in favor of a strike. Flight attendants in Canada and the U.S. are asking for higher wages and compensation for time worked. As a trade deal with the United States remains in limbo, Prime Minister Mark Carney unveiled new measures today to help the softwood lumber sector. CTV's Rachel Aiello has the details of Mark Carney's message for the industry.
Unveiling new measures to snap the Canadian softwood sector's U.S. market dependence, today Prime Minister Mark Carney promised new loan guarantees and grants to help keep lumber companies afloat, accelerate product development, diversify markets, and fund retraining efforts.
We cannot count or fully rely on what has been our most valued trading relationship for our prosperity.
The move comes after the U.S. raised duties last month, prompting calls to make resolving the dispute a priority in the broader trade talks. Talks that Carney said today are continuing, despite U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff escalation last week.
I haven't spoken to the president in recent days. We'll speak when it makes sense.
Mark Carney has to deliver.
While polls show Canadians appear willing to give Carney more time, pressure is increasing as they watch Trump make deals with other countries.
Canadians are increasingly worried about Trump and the state of the trade negotiations. Concern on that front has been increasing over the last number of weeks.
Today, as both countries work towards a new North American trade pact, two of Carney's top ministers are in Mexico, talking to officials about how they secured a 90-day pause on higher tariffs.
Perhaps we can also learn something from their approach. They took a much more measured and perhaps low-key approach, and it seemed to work for them.
All of this coming the same day that new federal data shows Canada's merchandise trade deficit has widened to the second highest on record since April's historic dip. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Israeli media reports say the country's prime minister is pressing for the full occupation of the Gaza Strip despite opposition from within the IDF. Several ministers say Benjamin Netanyahu used the term occupation during private conversations as he tried to rally support for the move. Senior officials were quoted as saying military operations would even take place in areas where Israeli hostages are believed to be held. The IDF's chief reportedly disagrees with the plan, and a cabinet vote on the idea was reportedly postponed. The United Nations called the reports deeply alarming if true. The UN said the move would risk catastrophic consequences as well as further endanger the lives of the hostages. And some new video is revealing the dangers of what happens when an airdropped package lands in Gaza and people scramble for aid. The footage shows hundreds of Palestinians rushing to collect whatever they can. Infighting often breaks out around the packages of aid. One piece of video shows two men wrestling over a package, one holding a knife. UN aid agencies have called the airdrops a last resort and are calling on Israel to allow more people access to inside Gaza. A new report has found the tragedy involving the Titan submersible was preventable. The tourist craft was on a dive to the Titanic when it imploded back in 2023, killing all 5 people on board. The U.S. Coast Guard investigation found major problems with the company behind the Titan, along with its controversial CEO. Here's CTV's John Vinavalley-Rao.
What happened to the Titan submersible and the loss of everyone on board, including a teenager, was examined extensively by the U.S. Coast Guard. And with the release of a more than 300-page report, an investigative board finding what many have long believed, that this marine casualty and the loss of 5 lives was preventable.
I'm mad because it happened, and I'm sad that all these people lost their lives. And that's why, to me, it should have never happened. It shouldn't have been allowed to happen.
The report placing blame on OceanGate, the American company behind the experimental sub, run by CEO Stockton Rush, who perished in the implosion. It cites inadequate design, certification, maintenance, and inspection processes for the Titan, adding there was a toxic workplace culture. Some who expressed safety concerns were fired or threatened with dismissal.
To start operations, was there pressure? Oh, 100%.
The report finding the submersible was used despite several prior incidents involving its carbon fiber hull, adding OceanGate was able to operate Titan completely outside the established deep-sea protocols. The Titan had been on a dive off Newfoundland carrying passengers who paid up to $250,000 to see the wreck of the Titanic when the submersible imploded.
The good news is they would have been killed instantly, so they wouldn't have suffered. But they shouldn't have been killed in the first place. This was preventable.
In a statement, OceanGate, which is no longer operating, said we again offer our deepest condolences to the families of those who died and to all those impacted by the tragedy. The report also notes if CEO Stockton Rush had survived, criminal charges against him would have been considered. John Vanavelli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
It was a weekend of celebration in Gimli as the community marked 150 years since the founding of New Iceland. The Icelandic Festival of Manitoba drew thousands of visitors over 4 days with a parade, tournaments, live music, and plenty of food. One of the most popular events, though, was Icelandingadunk, a Viking-style showdown where two people try to knock each other off a metal pole over water. The festival's president says the connection between Gimli and Iceland remains strong.
We have very strong ties and always share what we're doing. We visit them, they visit us, and yeah, it's always been very, very strong and held together by the communities.
To mark the milestone, Iceland's president, ambassador to Canada, and consul general in Winnipeg all attended the festival. Organizers say they worked hard to keep the event affordable and family-friendly. They estimate between 30,000 and 40,000 people came to the event over the weekend.
I'm John Hendricks at the Spanish Pavilion, and as you can see, there's a lot of dancing going on. We'll take you behind the scenes coming up on CTV News.
And there may be showers and thunderstorms moving through the Winnipeg area now. Thursday, to start off the long-range forecast, sunshine, hot one too, up to 29 degrees. There's a very good chance we'll see showers, maybe thunderstorms return on Friday, up to 26. Saturday, Sunday, the weekend, mix of sun and cloud, 25 degrees. Sunday, a touch cooler for this time of year, 23, back up to 24 on Monday under a mix of sun and cloud.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
He was the man who created Manitoba's largest hotel chain. Leo Ledachowski, founder of Canad Inns, has died. Both Premier Wab Kinew and Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham posted tributes to Ledachowski on social media. Ledachowski was an outspoken leader in Manitoba's hospitality industry. He served on the board of the Hotel Association of Canada for nearly 30 years. He was also a leader in Manitoba's Ukrainian community. Ledachowski founded Canad Inns in the late 70s. Today, there are Canad Inns centers in Winnipeg, Portage la Prairie, Brandon, and Grand Forks. The company also owns the Metropolitan Entertainment Center downtown and 9 Tavern United restaurants. Ledachowski was invested into the Order of Manitoba in 2022, recognizing his contributions to healthcare, children's sports, the United Way, and the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. Our city's biggest ethno-cultural celebration kicked off on Sunday. Folklorama is now officially well underway, and CTV's John Hendricks is having a bit of a fiesta tonight at the Spanish Pavilion. John, I thought you might have some castanets with you, but what have you gotten into now?
You know, I'm ready, dressed in somewhat of the traditional garb of a bullfighter and, you know, ready to do my thing. Actually, I think I'm ready to get gored by a bull, so I probably will end my career as a bullfighter and instead introduce you to someone who knows a little bit more about it. Pedro joins us now, and Pedro not only is, as you can see, his garb is a little bit more traditional, a little bit better than my own, he also knows a little something about dancing, and the dancing that is traditional traditional here at the Spanish Pavilion. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the dances we'll see.
We are doing a little bit of everything here. We do flamenco, we do classical Spanish dance. We're also doing folk dances from the different regions of Spain. Behind you, we have the dancers doing right now bulerías, which is a dance from southern Spain, and it's created for the stage with castanets. And the dancers belong to 3 different groups. We have Sol de España dancers, we have Bolero Dance Theater, and we have the Institute of Dance Manitoba, and they all dance together.
So for people who aren't familiar with this kind of dancing, explain to me like the noise that they're making. What is the thing that they're using to make that happen?
So those are the castanets, or castañuelas in Espanol. They are a very ancient instrument. They go back to like the Phoenicians when they were in Spain, and they have evolved. The instrument has evolved so that now the flamencas, or the flamenco dancers, they perform with the castanets and they keep the rhythm like that.
I mean, when you see this kind of dancing going on, and obviously also using the castanets, I am imagining that this takes quite a bit of practice to get down pat.
Practice and passion and fire.
Practice and passion and fire, those are excellent combinations. So what kind of years of training are we talking about?
Well, actually, in our show, we have some very young dancers. They can start at 6 years old, and as the years go by, they can get more of the other steps and the castanets and some of the thrilling of different shawls and skirts and things.
Well, it is quite an amazing show. Thank you so much for your time. And Marilee, I got to say, I am going to now just take in this show. It's looking pretty amazing. I was going to join them, but I don't think any one of us would appreciate that. So I'll just leave it to the experts over there.
Well, I might appreciate it when you get back to the newsroom. Show me what you learned.
I'm working on the castanets.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, John. Sunday marked 154 years since the signing of Treaty 1, and Lower Fort Garry had plenty to celebrate. The treaty was negotiated in 1871, and its impact continues to shape Manitoba's history. CTV's Daniel Timmerman was there to capture the sights, sounds, and celebrations.
Treaty number 1 was negotiated in 1871 between the Swampy Cree, Anishinaabe, and Crown representatives. Treaty 1 incorporated land agreements, gifts, it incorporated treaty annuity payments, and it incorporated the sharing of a treaty medallion. It's that famous handshake model with the phrase, the sun shines, the grass grows, and the river flows, highlighting that this treaty will last for as long as there are humans here on this territory.
I think it's really important that people know their history, where they come from. So I think it's important to honor those memories and the history of what happened, to learn more, to know where we came from so we know where we're going.
Here at Lower Fort Garry on August 3rd, we do have some really cool teachings happening.
We want it like yellow hot here, because that's a good temperature where it's nice and shapeable. You can send these around too. Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
What people should know about Treaty number 1 is that we are all affected by it. We are all treaty people. Everyone who is here in Manitoba right now is a treaty person.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with an update on your Skywatch weather forecast. Looks like the rain has stopped over downtown Winnipeg at the moment. Are we in the clear?
I wouldn't say the clear just yet. There's scattered thunderstorms moving across southern Manitoba and just scattered showers. Something else, of course, we've been contending with all across Manitoba is the smoke. And this wildfire season historic in a lot of ways. And now we can say that 2025 is the smokiest year on record here in the city of Winnipeg. This is monitored by Environment and Climate Change Canada. As of 1 o'clock this morning, 306 hours of smoke were observed so far this wildfire season, which Environment Canada considers to run from the beginning of April through to the end of October, eclipsing that long-standing record set back in 1961 of 304 hours. But then you can see Third, fourth, and fifth place is all set with just the last few years in the 2020s. So again, 306 hours of smoke. Also important to note that we're just getting into the month of August with wildfire season going all the way to the end of October, and already the smokiest year on record. It is pretty soggy though tonight, and we had a line of thunderstorms that moved not just through Winnipeg but across the Red River Valley. I'll zoom in on those as they continue to exit the Winnipeg area. For now, there may well be more coming in behind, but this line of storms moves off now further to the northeast. These are non-severe. Out in the southwest, now these storms are also non-severe thunderstorms, but you can see they're a bit more active. There's a bit more to them. We have Minnedosa out to the east getting those storms now, Russell up there to the west, and all those communities in between, Birtle, Strathclair. These are non-severe thunderstorms at this point, but all those areas lighting up in yellow that are getting those storms now, and also places like Dauphin and Brandon under a severe thunderstorm watch. So all of this, the culprit is a trough of low pressure advancing towards us, triggering off those thunderstorms, and they do have the capacity to become severe. That's why that area is under that watch. Other areas under a continued air quality warning, these areas in purple, eastern Manitoba, all across the north, right up to the northern border. Then we've got these areas a little further south in orange under a special air quality statement over the border as well into parts of northwestern Ontario. Across southern Manitoba again tonight, we had those scattered showers, and this doesn't look so scattered at this point over the next couple of hours, but they will become scattered, so we'll get some breaks here and there. But we may have some overnight thunderstorms to contend with here in Winnipeg and across the south, and this will make its way as well into northwestern Ontario. And some of these storms will make their way further north into parts of northern Manitoba, and this will continue into tomorrow. Now, there's a good chance, it's not a sure shot everywhere, but a good chance in much of the south and a good swath of the north too, that those showers are going to come through your community at some point. And in we go already into overnight Wednesday into Thursday, where those showers start to move off further into the northeast, leaving sunshine behind in the south. For tonight, we drop down to 19 in Winnipeg on this Tuesday night with showers and thunderstorms, winds out of the southeast. Lighter winds in the morning, showers possible, 20 degrees for the commute, up to 28 in the afternoon with that continued possibility of showers, although the chance does lessen in the afternoon. We have smoke in the northeast tonight. Now, Gillam down to 17. This is interesting. Gillam goes to 27 tomorrow before falling to 24. We have showers likely with thunderstorms in Thompson tomorrow. Best chance of showers or thunderstorms tonight is around Flin Flon, but around the region there's the possibility. Greater chance of showers or thunderstorms in the northwest tomorrow, highs in the low 20s. Showers and thunderstorms moving across the southwest now, overnight lows 16, 17 degrees. You'll likely see more showers, maybe thunderstorms as warm as 27 in Brandon tomorrow. Winnipeg in the southeast, we've had those storms come through already. There may be more overnight. Overnight lows quite warm, 17, 18, 19 degrees, and again, good chance of showers or more thunderstorms tomorrow. Kenora and Fort Frances, those showers or thunderstorms should get to you before morning and then spread into Dryden throughout the day on Wednesday with highs in the low to mid-20s. Our first weather photo takes us to beautiful Clearwater Lake. That shot is from Annalyn. It's such a stunning lake. Never a bad photo at Clearwater Lake. And this next one is from Laura. This is the sunrise over the lake, she says, out at White Shell Provincial Park. Equally beautiful. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
There's an urgent recall in place for several models of baby nests over strangulation concerns. Those details ahead in Medical Watch. Water safety is top of mind for many Manitobans tonight following a deadly long weekend on the water. 2 men drowned in separate bodies of water in our province Saturday. And joining me now to talk more about water safety is Lynn Stefanchuk, the Executive Director of the Life Saving Society of Manitoba. Lynn, good to speak with you.
Thank you.
We are learning of these deaths just about a week after your organization launched its annual week-long water safety campaign. I'm just curious from your point of view how troubling this news is.
It's always troubling. It's never something that we want to hear. And it's heartbreaking that people were just going out there to enjoy the water and now their loved ones are wondering what happened. So it's never something we want to hear.
One of this weekend's victims was using a pool flotation device. And I know while many people think these are safe and, designed to keep and help you float, they're actually quite dangerous, aren't they?
For sure. We think they're a lot of fun for a backyard pool, but they don't take the place of a life jacket. They can, especially if you're out on a body of water like Lake Winnipeg or like our other lakes and rivers, you can get in trouble pretty quickly before you realize, and you can get taken out so far out of shore that you can't get back on your own very quickly. So we always recommend people keep those kinds of tools or those kinds of fun water things to the backyard pool rather than in the lakes and rivers.
How many drowning deaths do we typically see here in Manitoba in a year, and are the numbers increasing?
Media reported deaths for this year are at 9, and so it's always going to take some time until we find out what that number really is, and it tends to be estimated often about 3 times higher than that. So our average per year between 22 and 28, we had 28 as of our last drowning report, which took us to 2022. So it's a number that's too high for our comfort.
All right, there's still a lot of summer left. What is your advice to Manitobans when it comes to water safety?
Plan ahead, know how to keep yourself safe. So those are things like wearing a life jacket when you're in and around the water, wearing one that fits you, keep the floaties to your backyard pool, keep the little ones within arm's reach, swim with a buddy so there's more than one of you out there so you can, help each other out if you need to, and just be cautious.
One tip I heard, in the midst of all this coverage was, especially with young kids, and that's often an area we, get a lot of advice on, was to put the phone away, because you might think you're, just checking something very quickly on your phone, but things can happen very fast. And that really hit home for me.
Very fast. And for the average person who's not maybe trained in life-saving, the signs of drowning are often pretty subtle. They're not as dramatic as we maybe imagine they are, and it does not take long, especially for the little ones, until they're in trouble and they're swallowing water. So we recommend, watching your phone is not a good idea, but it's also, there's a lot going on when you're the parent of small ones, and a lot that can distract you that just does. So that when you've got kids in and around the water, that there's always someone basically assigned to that role to watch the kids. If you need to step in from the pool to go grab something from in the house, make sure there's another responsible adult there to watch the kids.
Lynn, some great tips and information, especially as we still have a lot of summer left. Appreciate it. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
Health Canada has issued urgent recalls for a number of baby nests, warning of potential risks to babies involving falls, strangulations, and entrapment. The recalls are for baby nest models from Be Chic and Secure, sold under the 11 brand. The company says more than 3,000 units of the affected products were sold in Canada from early 2020 to July of this year. Health Canada says the safest place for babies to sleep is on their back on a firm, flat surface. Customers of the baby nests are asked to stop using the affected products and dispose of them safely. Health Canada is also warning consumers about serious health risks associated with unauthorized fitness products sold online. In the advisory, the department announced seizures of unauthorized injectable peptide drugs, often used for bodybuilding, anti-aging, or enhancing athletic performance. The affected products were sold on the now closed website Canada Peptide. According to Health Canada, though injectable peptides are regulated as prescription drugs, the department has not authorized any of the products seized or sold on the company's website. You can find the full list of unauthorized products named in the advisory on Health Canada's website. A couple in the U.S. has welcomed a baby boy born from an embryo donated 30 years ago.
Interestingly, there doesn't appear to be any degradation in embryo quality or risks of the embryos when they're with prolonged storage.
The embryo was donated to the couple by a woman who had some unused from the 90s. This is believed to be a record for the longest an embryo has been frozen before a live birth. Scientists say preserving embryos for extended periods of time have become more commonplace. Over the last few years, several babies have been born from embryos which have been frozen for decades.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
A Disney classic is coming to a Winnipeg stage. What you can expect from Rainbow Stage's production of the hit musical Frozen.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Holly Cole.
Why take in just one country when you can explore a whole continent? The festivities are off and running at Folklorama's Africa Pavilion, which is celebrating 25 years. Given the diversity of the people and cultures of Africa, organizers say you can expect something a little different each night. But one thing stays the same. They hope you'll join them in a little bit of dancing.
The good thing is the rhythm. As you sit and watch guests here having a meal, having a drink, you can see them shaking. And actually, we encourage all our guests to actually get up and get into the rhythm and dance to the tunes that they have. It's a good way of bringing the community together. People here are very friendly, and we welcome everyone to come to the Africa Pavilion.
The pavilion also features an African market where you can find some colorful new items for your wardrobe. You can find the pavilion at Techbach High School on Wall Street. Well, get ready to let it go. Rainbow Stage's production of the hit Disney musical Frozen kicks off this week. Follow Anna, Kristoff, and Olaf as they set out on an epic adventure to rescue Anna's sister Elsa, whose icy powers have trapped the land in eternal winter. And of course, you can expect to hear all of your favorite songs, such as Let It Go, Do You Want to Build a Snowman, and Love is an Open Door.
A little bit of both. Yeah. Extra pressure, extra fun. Just because they are such classics. And kids are tough critics. They are. So, you know, they're not, they're going to expect a certain caliber of performance, I think, and we're hoping to bring that to them.
Frozen runs August 7th to the 24th, and Rainbow Stage says tickets are going fast. This Sunday's matinee performance has already sold out. Head to rainbowstage.ca for more details and tickets. Well, even though the calendar is flipped over to August, there's still plenty of time to make the most of the new Canada Strong Pass. 3 locations in Winnipeg are participating in the federal government's program, encouraging you to explore your own backyard. They are the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, the Manitoba Museum, and the Winnipeg Art Gallery. Until September 2nd, anyone aged 17 and under can get in for free, and admission is half off for those 18 to 24. The WAG is also free for everyone on the second Sunday of every month. The Canada Strong Pass also offers free admission and camping discounts with Canada's parks and discounted travel with Via Rail. Well, it was a day that the staff of Island Lakes Child and Family Services will never forget. A meeting with a Hollywood superstar.
Awesome, man. So awesome.
That is none other than John Travolta. Travolta was in Winnipeg shooting a movie called November 1963 about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. He was shooting a scene next door to Island Lake CFS on Wellington Avenue. The staff caught wind the celebrity was there and waited in the parking lot with gifts. And Travolta greeted the group, shook hands, and posed for selfies.
Greeted him, we took photos, and we gave him a gift. A painting of an eagle that represents love, kindness, and also the Paco that represents that he accepted it, and just to thank him that he's here.
Travolta wrapped up his scenes last week. No word on when the movie will be released. Well, it's been a fantastic long weekend at the box office for Marvel's latest superhero film.
Famous around the world, please welcome the Fantastic Four.
The Fantastic Four, First Steps, found its way to the top spot for the second straight week. It brought in an estimated $40 million US across North America. The Bad Guys 2 took the second spot with nearly $22 million in sales. And rounding up the box office was The Naked Gun, which earned $17 million in sales. We'll catch up on The Big Bang Theory with back-to-back episodes starting at 7, and don't miss E-Talk at 10:30. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
I
I'm John Hendricks at the Spanish Pavilion, and as you can see, there's a lot of dancing going on. We'll take you behind the scenes coming up on CTV News.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
27 degrees in Winnipeg, just a bit above normal for this time of year, but that record, 1964, 36.7 degrees. We could see more showers and thunderstorms even overnight tonight and into at least tomorrow morning. 19 tonight, 28 tomorrow. Sunshine returns Thursday. So does the heat merrily. So do showers and thunderstorms by Friday. A little cooler, relatively speaking, by the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, mix of sun and cloud. 25 Saturday, 23 on Sunday. Back up to 24 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud by Monday.
Well, as we told you earlier, Folklorama is now underway, and Winnipeg is coming to life with the sights and sounds from all across the globe. We are going to leave you tonight with some more of the sights and sounds from the Spanish Pavilion. Enjoy.